welcome back. I'm Jonathan Kydd, and you're watching or even listening to the Chelsea FanCast. And he's written here, he's fat, he's round, his name is Philip Dowd. It doesn't quite rhyme. He doesn't bother. By the way, he called the show tonight, Kydd, decaffeinated, which I forgot to mention that because we were talking about the technical difficulties we'd had. And I don't quite get that. Why do you think Sophie's called it decaffeinated? Any idea?
Kydd.
Yeah, he called it. He said the name of the show tonight is decaffeinated.
I thought it was Chelsea decaffeinated. Doesn't make much difference.
No, yeah, but thanks for being a pedant here. Dazza, yeah.
But it sticks to the script, you know.
Okay, yeah. Chelsea decaffeinated. Any idea, benches? What does Chelsea decaffeinated mean?
Not a clue.
Not a clue, no meaning.
The only thing I can think of is one of the Lethal Weapon films at the end where the South African guy got shot. They said, what's happened to him? He's been decaffeinated.
This may be it.
Yeah.
That is really obscure but excellent, because we were a bit decaffeinated at the very end of that game, weren't we? I slumped. I got a terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach now when I watch this and that happens, because it's almost a kind of inevitable thing happening that you think, what's he done? Is he keeping the 1-0? Are we going to survive the 1-0? Is he... are we... When he brings Mikel on, I always think, OK, that's not bad, but then it's Zuma and you think, is he going to be up to it? And is it Man City all over again? And I think we were discussing this later on. Anyway, Dowd missed the rugby tackles on Branner and JT, should have been a penalty. Now, I personally thought that was... What, he's watching it.
But he's not, though.
Well, he's not. He's too far. He can't keep up.
But surely he was on the edge of the penalty area.
But he wasn't looking where he wasn't looking in the right direction. He wasn't.
He
Because he would have
looking
seen
at
it. He would have seen one
I
of
thought
them.
the pictures were that he was observing it, but he didn't actually pay any attention. It's almost as if he let it take place.
No, it's all uncontrollable flesh when he's running. He can't see anything.
It just goes up.
He had a view of... He could see Ivanovic. He couldn't see Terry, I don't think, from his view. But whatever he was watching, it wasn't that specific part, because it was off the ball at the time. The linesman from where he was, because he was on that
So
side.
he's waiting for Lino to make the decision, though.
I don't know, but I thought the first replay and the second one, it wasn't as obvious. The one from behind where you can see he's clearly grabbed him around the back and he's pulling him when they're both doing the same thing to Terry and Ivanovic. And then from the front, when it was close up, you can see it. But I think it was more obvious from the linesman's view than it was from Dowd's. And he could only see Ivanovic, not Terry.
Yeah.
They weren't all clear replays of it, but yeah, it was clearly.
I always think the referees, they let it go if it's just people scrabbling and nowhere near the ball. But in this instance, Branner had a direct line for the ball to try and score.
And it would have been a red card because it was the last man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
But I don't get that. And similarly, I think he was swayed by the crowd at the end for Branner's...
Well, you
foul.
can see it was theatre, wasn't it? At the end, he was waiting.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah,
completely.
He could have done it, but no, he waited.
Yeah, and he waited.
Everyone
and
saw it. And then he zoomed in as well. It
Yeah.
wasn't a normal shot. It was zoomed in.
But surely the four officials on or near the pitch have a responsibility between them to see these things. They're all mic'd up. They can all talk to each other.
Indeed.
But you know, if the referees missed something, one of them should have seen it.
Yeah.
It's wrong, isn't it?
Well, whether he's made a decision beforehand to say, I'm not going to give those kind of fouls. In the brief period that I was a ref, the refs used to say, and I was running the line, they'd say, ball in and out of play and offsides. I don't want anything, I will make the decisions. It becomes a kind of ego thing.
I believe that's because when you're playing a 11-a-side, like Sunday League football, because the assistant referees are linesmen, are coaches from each team, they're going to be biased. So they only make those decisions.
No. In this instance, when I did it, I was actually an official linesman. I did a game at Southall. I did in the Southall pitch. And I in fact noticed that the centre forward had punched the centre half in the first minute of the game, and I flagged. And the referee was a bus inspector, came up and said, I told you not to flag. I told you just to give offside and ball in out of play. And I said, yeah, but he whacked him in the face. And he said, oh, he's off then. I said, yes. And he went, oh, he came up, sent him off. And the bloke came off, and there were no spectators at all in this ground. And he stood behind me for the rest of the 89 minutes and swore at me for the rest of it, suggesting that I had very little hair, which I thought was very unfair, because, you know, only a bit of a bald patch.
If he wanted to get you, he could have just shouted, John repeatedly. That's what I'd have done. I think that was different. I think in the Premier League, Phil Dowd doesn't have the choice whether or not his assistants do that or not. I'm pretty sure.
No. I know. I think it's a different set of rules. So, benches. What do you reckon? What do you reckon to Dowd?
I think the problem is lack of consistency amongst all the referees, because last week I think Swansea got a penalty for the same thing. This week we don't get one. I think there needs to be real consistency with these decision making.
I just thought he was nearer though. What was the name of that ref? He was a lot nearer, wasn't he?
Atkinson, I think.
No.
Was it last week? Atkinson.
It was the young one, yeah.
He seemed to be right on the spot, so he saw it. But you think they'd have a symposium, a meeting, to debate what the standard is going to be, what they're going to be.
Apparently they
other
do.
big
And
individuals.
they actually go around the clubs at the beginning of the season
and discuss
they
it
talk
with
about
them.
all this stuff, but then they don't do it.
But what will happen to Dowd? Do you think we're going to see Dowd not officiating at several matches this season?
No, he'll come
I
back
don't
next
think
week.
carrying on.
There aren't really any good referees, are there? They all get it wrong. Every time.
There's a couple of new ones that have come in who seem to be quite athletic.
The one against Palace.
Palace, he was good. Absolutely agree. I don't know his name.
I see Foy's been relegated to 4th official now.
Oh yeah, he must have loved it that they scored last minute, giving it 4 minutes. I just wanted to add a few more.
Was Fergie time all over again, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now that one he's got here. Do you think that Brano should have been sent off? Yes or no at the end there? Or was he just? Was it this clipping? And we've talked about the fact that he was influenced by the crowd, and
I think it was. Was it the first half he tackled Januzaj on the edge of the box?
I think he was sent off for dissent then.
The book he was booked for the dissent.
Sorry, booked. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
booked for dissent.
The dissent.
Yeah.
And then he didn't intentionally clip his heel, but he does.
There is contact.
It's so minimal, but when you're running that fast,
That's right.
it does.
That's right.
So for me, if there was the other way around, I would say yes. So I had to be quite fair and say it was.
To me, for it to be a booking, there should be some kind of malice involved, or deliberate cheating, not accidentally clipped his heel. That's not a booking. It's a
But
foul.
you could argue that he'd stopped him in full flow and he could have whipped across.
They wouldn't have scored from the cross. I
No, it's
guarantee
true,
that.
it's
They
true,
wouldn't have
it's
scored
true.
and we would have won it.
But if he tried to bring him down, he'd have done a better job than that, really.
Guys, let's move on a little bit. Do you think that Jose has an Achilles heel because we're in control and comfortable after we went 1-0 up? Do you think we should have carried on because he then went slightly more defensively? What do you think, Sophie?
I think the substitutions were a bit late, to be honest, if he was going to make any by then.
You
But
reckon?
I don't know. I think probably Ivanovic's sending off probably cost us the game, to be honest. At the end, don't know if they would have scored
No.
had he have remained on
I
the
think
pitch.
I think we were doing a pretty good job up until then. So it's a question of whether we should have continued attacking. It's that age-old thing. In the past, Chelsea teams would have had no problem whatsoever. It's just we've done it now twice in Manchester.
It's classic Jose, though. Jose will always... He used to, obviously, his first time round, he could just kill a game off. 1-0, 2-0, they weren't going to score. Very rarely did they score. If Mourinho just wanted to stop, he'd stick the ball on the right-hand side so everyone on the left side gets a rest, then vice versa, bring it to the back so everyone up front gets a rest. He would dictate the whole game. It's not happened since he's come back. Last season, this season, he's tried it, hasn't happened. The only thing really with their goal was that he brought on Zuma, who's obviously a lump, so's Matic, you've got Cahill, you had Terry. So for Fellaini...
He's a lump in progress.
Yeah, he's good. I don't get me wrong, he's good.
He
but
will
I mean,
be
he's
better.
Tall. He's sort of player you want. So we had
unit.
so many tall players. They had Fellaini, obviously.
I thought, by the way, Fellaini was the best game I've seen him play for United. I thought he was absolutely excellent.
He was good,
I hate him.
Yeah, Sophie hates him.
The bog brush.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we had enough. We should have had enough people to defend the free kick. I don't think it's Jose closing it out or not really in that situation. We weren't going to score a second. When we were attacking, we just weren't that convincing. I put a bet on Terry to score after 20 minutes. I thought, if we score, it's going to be a corner. It was always going to be. But that's all we were doing.
Fisk. He took the. He didn't take the corners very well.
Apart from the goal.
Yeah, apart from the goal.
Yeah.
I don't think it was his best game.
It wasn't his best game, was it? No, it wasn't.
But Dan's right when he says that if you think about Jose's first period at Chelsea, we could defend a 1-0 lead all week. I actually tweeted this on a comment to Cheltel put something up on Facebook, and I put the comment that last time round 2004-05 we could defend a 1-0 lead all week.
Yeah.
Nobody would score against us.
Absolutely.
We conceded hardly any goals in the second half of games that season.
Yeah.
We can't do that anymore.
No.
It's a different team. So Jose has to
I think it's a different style of football. I think football has evolved. I think they're all a bit more athletic in the 10 years. Anybody tweeted or come in on anything, Sophie?
Just saying poor refereeing in
Poor
general.
refereeing.
Yeah, but still, at the end of the day, I think even at the end, all the fans, we weren't too disappointed because at the end of the day, we're quite a few points clear now, aren't we? Anyway, so it was disappointing, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, no disrespect to Southampton, but we're already 6 points clear because they're not going to be there at the end. So we're 6 clear. Anyone
Way to go, in a good thing.
Well, yeah, they're doing quite well.
That happened last year though. So
Now, guys, what do you reckon to the great Drog, to Didier? What do we think? Can he still do the job, do you reckon?
Both his goals that he's scored since he's been back have been It's very similar to the last 2 he scored for us anyway.
There's a theory that he's reliving his Chelsea career backwards.
He is.
So it's
It'd be good to look at the video and see what the next one's going to be like.
Just hope he doesn't get back to Moscow.
Yes, that would be cool, wouldn't it? But he's I thought he just got much better in the second half.
Yeah, he did.
He looked more like the player that he was.
He was able to hold the ball up.
Yeah, he had a decent first touch for a change, whereas the other performances he's given, I've just felt, particularly in the Maribor, which we'll get onto, I thought he was a bit dodgy.
The only thing I think is the last 10 minutes, even when the ball was near him, he just couldn't close people down. He wasn't really menacing. He wasn't getting in positions. When Jose brought Schürrle on, I thought it was going to be for Drogba because Drogba looked very tired by that point.
I think he wanted to have him for defensively, doesn't he? Defensive organisation.
Well, it's another defensive person we had then who couldn't defend the free kick. How many of them did we need?
In fact, Drogba was organising the defence before that.
Him and Terry were both doing it.
Yeah, they were.
They looked like they were sort of in a bit of a disagreement about things.
Benches. Do you think we'd have done better with Costa?
Yes. Yeah, without a doubt.
Do you think it's because we've got Didier that we're having to play a different way?
Costa's got more movement. He play off the edge of the defender. He's got the pace. I think Costa would have won that maybe 2-0, 3-0. Would be a different story. But Drogba did the job, got a goal, and his presence alone, caused a lot of aggravation to the centre halves.
What do you reckon, Andy?
Yeah. Cookie missed Costa. He would have bullied them two centre halves the first time they played together. But Drogba done the job. He got the goal. Had we not scored and they would have scored, we would have lost. So no, I think Drogba done okay.
The gaffer hasn't turned up yet, has he? God, I'm so red. Look at me.
It is quite hot in here. I'm feeling a little bit as well.
If you want.
I'm going to have some and shiny. We're going to have a bit of powder in the break, I think. Stop being
You are looking very Phil Mitchell-esque at the moment.
Very who? Phil Mitchell-esque. Oh, I'll do it like that then. All right. It's a point gained or 2 dropped. What do you reckon?
It's definitely 2.
What do we reckon? 2 dropped.
Under the circumstances, you can't argue with that. If we had scored last minute, obviously, we'd have been happy with it and whatnot. And United would have said it was 2 dropped. It has to be when it's that late on. It's 2 drops.
Yeah. It was ludicrous. It was hateful. It was vile. I just went.
A bit like City, really.
Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the same.
So late in the game.
Yeah.
And you think you've done enough to get the 3, and
we'd have then won every game, which would have been, and we'd have beaten the 2.
And we'd have been top of the league. Oh, we are.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Yeah.
Anyone can say that if this hadn't happened, we'd have got more points. We wouldn't have lost this game or that game or drawn it. So.
It's a decent gap still, as Kydd says. So
Indeed.
we've played away at Everton, City and United, and we're still unbeaten. So the invincibility is still on.
Very true.
How long have we got, Ross? Oh, I've got to keep going. I've got to the end of the script here.
We've got 3. I was going to say we've got 3 of the hard away games out of the way, like Everton, which losses and we lost.
Yeah, what's the next away game?
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Liverpool,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Shrewsbury, yeah.
Wow. Benches, you going to Liverpool? Anybody going there, to Anfield?
No, I'm not, no.
What's the question?
Going to Liverpool way.
No, working.
Oh, well, you'll be there, though, won't you?
Where, Liverpool?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to Liverpool.
Are you going to Liverpool? You were there on Sunday,
I was
then, weren't
there,
you?
yeah.
By mistake?
Yesterday, by mistake.
Oh, by mistake, okay.
No, I went for the boxing, but ended up at the game. Wasn't too bad.
Did you win?
Do I look like a boxer? Can you imagine? Oh, no, but I've been going to the gym now.
Where were you sitting in the away support? What part of it?
Upper tier. Or further up.
Further up.
It was great atmosphere at the game. You missed out, guys. Missed out. Even
I heard
even
it on
when
TV. It sounded really good on TV.
Yeah, even when they equalised, which to be honest they celebrated literally like they'd won the Champions League. When actually all they'd done is drawed the game with when we'd only had 10 men. So it's not exactly an achievement.
A home draw.
Yeah.
But the travel was nightmarish there, wasn't it?
The travel was an absolute.
Was that for everybody? So what did they do? Did they just not have any trains on at all?
I think there was like a
engineering
signal
works
failure at Watford.
Outside of Watford,
yeah, no trains going. It's all right though. Great day for me.
I once went to Manchester City, Chelsea, not realising that the train stopped at Milton Keynes. You had to get a bus, and when it came to kick off, I was actually still on the bus at Milton Keynes, and I just came straight back again.
You didn't bother going? Yeah, I wouldn't have done. You wouldn't have got there in time.
No, I wouldn't. Well, I was thinking perhaps I'll get there for the end.
Oh, you got the bus to Manchester and then you got the bus.
No. I've explained this badly. I'll start again. It got me off. The train dumped me off at Milton Keynes and said, "You now got to get a bus to the next
and
wherever
you said,
it
no,
was."
thanks.
And I said no thanks and came straight back. But if I had, I'd have got there for the end of the game, which would have been foolish, I think, somewhat. But,
There was an incident on the West Coast main line, apparently. It's nothing to do with Chelsea. but there was a train coming down from Edinburgh at 80 miles an hour, and there was a guy that was supposed to tell the guys that were working on the track that it was coming, but I think he forgot to tell him, and they had about 4 seconds to get out of the way of this
Oh my God.
train.
Oh, that's my
A
worst
lot of
nightmare.
scattering going on.
Yeah, but that can delay trains, things
What's
like
happening on there?
Well, on Twitter, they're well, we're still talking about whether it would have made a difference if Costa was on the pitch, and most people seem to think so. So they love Drogba, but younger legs would have made a difference.
I
It's
think
Mike
they'd have
Harvey.
won 3-1, personally.
What, if Costa was
If Costa
playing?
had been there, I think he'd scored 2 goals, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
But you said
Look at
they.
their defence.
No, no, we. Sorry, we. No,
We.
they, our team, as in our team.
As in
They.
our team.
I think if we'd been
us.
3-0 up, they wouldn't have scored their one. So.
No, that's true. That's true, yeah. We can only have conjecture in this instance.
It's just a shame that their defence has Rojo, Shaw, Smalling. I mean, Smalling's so bad, and he made him look good yesterday in some parts. So I was a bit disappointed.
I thought we were doing really well up until probably like the last 10 minutes.
What will
and
he
then
do?
people panic.
Sorry,
don't
sorry,
they?
yeah.
No,
sorry.
you go. You
What
carry
What
on.
do you think he'll do tomorrow night for the Shrewsbury game? Will he put out?
Put out the under-11s.
8 changes apparently.
Well,
Get Check will be in goal.
you already know what's happening.
Well, apparently it's 8 changes. So we check. Who else?
Oh, he'll drop
Zim,
Terry. He'll
yeah.
keep Luis probably in there just for a bit of match
Okay.
practice. And
Mike-
Yeah,
whatnot.
Mike
I think he
Clay,
needs it. He's
Nathan.
not quite as sharp as
What's likely?
as,
What's likely?
Aspilicueta, is he?
Yeah,
He might
most
start.
likely.
He's a good crosser of the ball though. Louis.
Who's yeah,
He's a very good crosser.
Check will be captain tomorrow.
yeah.
I don't know what Remy's state of fitness is.
No.
So,
I don't
do you think
This is-
will he
sorry.
play Baker? Is that part of one of the choices he's going to make?
Well, I know Aki would definitely start.
Oh yeah. Aki's a fantastic
I think
tackler.
he's
Really
good. Yeah.
good.
But he's the one they always keep on saying that
Passing's
he's not ready for the team. They always say he's not gifted, but he seems pretty gifted.
He seems
Every
pretty.
time I've seen him.
yeah.
He played the one League Cup game, and he was really good
Yeah.
against Borough.
They're only going to get confidence if they play,
exactly.
aren't they?
They've got to play. You can only get better if you play. It's not going to be sitting on the bench, is it?
Speaking of the bench, is anybody going to Shrewsbury or Shrewsbury? I never know how to pronounce it.
No, but
No?
there'll be major changes, maybe many as 9 or 10. I know Christensen, Aki, Baker have all gone with the team.
I
Andy
think he'll have a packed bench though, won't he? I always get fearful if they put a team out that's a bit too youthful and they start losing it. You need to bring on the.
It's like we
the
have
big
here,
guns.
really. We have a packed bench.
We have a very packed bench.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the set's falling down. Lots of creaking
He's
going
right under
on.
the
in
light as
corner
well,
there.
so he's doing.
There's a train coming.
Yeah. It's Kydd. He's making a late arrival for the
What was Gaffer?
I went to the Shrewsbury FA Cup game.
97.
So did I.
Yeah.
Zola loved the keeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy went as well.
Yeah. Were we both there, Andy?
Yeah, I think
We
so.
didn't know each other. If only we'd known.
Yeah, but I can't remember yesterday, so I don't really remember the game.
Yeah, apparently there was a great knees up Mother Brown, according to Ross. I don't remember it because,
There
as you know, I
probably
don't sing or dance or do anything when I watch. All I do is just observe. But yeah, apparently, were you part of that? Andy, were you part of the great knees up Mother Brown?
No, I was a Whitewall boy. We didn't really do that much.
That's how he did his backing.
Was it originally?
That was more of a middle dom.
Yeah. I've been told to wrap it up by Ross, so that was good. Good timing there.
I could have kept going.
I'm wrapping up. After the break, we'll be revealing the winners and losers in the fannies for our match awards for the United game. Well done, everybody. Bravo.